Captain Mac here, and welcome to another fun-filled episode in unusual, difficult, and dangerous approaches. And when I first started this series, one of the things I asked was if any of you out there had any suggestions for unusual, difficult, or dangerous approaches, please put them in the comments, and I'd take a look at them and decide whether or not to do them. Now, I've gotten a lot of comments from you guys, and I really appreciate that. A lot of the suggested airports were already on the list, but this one here, the River Visual 19 approach, or Visual River 19 approach, whichever way you want to say it, for KDCA came in as a suggestion from Supercrafter 1142, and boy, I tell you what, for whatever reason, I hadn't heard of this approach. He mentioned it, I looked it up, and this is cool. This is a neat approach. It's exactly what it sounds like. It is a visual approach, and the idea is to follow the river. And as you can see here, there's two different routes, and we'll get to that in just a second. But the reason this approach is set up the way that it is because of this area here and this area in purple here. These are restricted areas from the ground up to 18,000 feet. This is Washington, D.C. And right as you start the last turn here to the right, you can actually see the Washington, what is it, the Washington Monument, the needle? Yeah, the Washington Monument. My brain doesn't always want to function right, so, but anyway, that's why this approach is set up the way it is, because you can't fly a direct approach from up here onto runway 19, because you'd be crossing over the top of this restricted airspace. So you have to come in from the river. And as you can see, there's two different ways to fly this approach. You can start out with a direct approach on the 328 degree radial from the DCA VOR and fly at 148 degrees until you get to the Georgetown Reservoir and then follow the river from there. Or you can start following the river from way out here at the David Taylor Naval Research and Development Center. And that's the route that we're going to take today because, hey, what the heck, it's more fun. Now, here's what we're going to have to do when we set this up is we're going to have to actually key in some custom waypoints. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my PMDG 737 for this flight. I was going to use an Airbus, but it's a lot easier. I'm more familiar with the FMC in there as far as putting in custom waypoints. And the reason I need to do that is, first of all, I've flown through here a bunch of times, and I cannot actually identify what is supposed to be the David Taylor Naval Research and Development Center. I can't really identify it. All I know is that it's 10 nautical miles from DCA. All right. So rather than trying to take a guess at that, and I've looked at the terrain and tried to figure out where's the river widen up here and all that, and it's really been quite the hassle trying to get it figured out. So here's what I'm going to do instead. I'm going to put a custom waypoint in right here at 10 nautical miles on the 328 degree radial from the DCA VOR, and that's going to give me that point right there. Okay, I'm going to put another one in at 6 nautical miles, another at 4, and another at 3, and that marks these points here. Now, the catch to that is we're going to be following the river over here, and the waypoint's going to be off to our right over here because it's going to be on this 328 degree radial. So we'll have a waypoint here, a waypoint here, and a waypoint here. And it's okay that they're going to be off to the right because I'll be expecting that, and I'll be following the river on a visual approach anyway. So I just want those as reference points for these different altitudes that I want to hit. So the way this works is we come in here at 3,000 feet. Now it says recommended, which means we can be a little lower, and I might decide to be just a little bit lower than that. But it says recommended 3,000 feet at this point right here, which is where we enter the approach. And again, we're going to take the full visual river approach instead of cutting across right here because, hey, it's a Captain Mac channel. We want to have as much fun with it as we can. So we'll start our descent here, and when we get parallel to this waypoint here, we'll be over the river, but when we get parallel to this waypoint, we want to be at or about 1,800 feet, and again, parallel to this waypoint at or about 1,200, and then at or about 900 as we make this right-hand turn around here. Now, some things we're going to be looking for, we want to watch for the Delacarlia Reservoir off to our left, and that's just before the chain bridge, and try as I might, I cannot guarantee that I've been able to distinguish between these two reservoirs, and I'm going to do probably one more flight before I actually record it, and I just want to count the number of bridges because there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bridges. All right, and so I just want to make sure, because I know when I cross that first bridge, I'm just past this Delacarlia reservoir, and I should be descending below 1,800 feet. And then we've got these other bridges as reference points up here. The main reference point, of course, for this entire approach is the river itself. And the river is laid out halfway decent in FSX. It is default scenery that I have. I don't have an add-on for this. There's a couple out there. I'm not gonna spend money on an add-on. And the only free add-on I could find was an FS9 conversion that wasn't that great according to the reviews. So what I do know from flying this is you can see the Washington Monument and some of the stuff in the DC area, so we do have some landmarks available to us, and of course the airport is there, so we should be good to go on that. Key things we want to look at here: we're not doing ATC, not worried about that. The main thing is going to be our altitudes and following the river. Let's scroll on down here. There's plenty of runway to work with, 2,093 feet. Or I'm sorry, 2,093 meters. If that was 2,093 feet, that would kind of stink. It uses a VASI lighting system that works on both sides of the runway with a 3-degree glide slope. Now we should have hopefully a visual on that lighting system by the time we get to this point right here, in which case we should be able to use that to help guide us all the way in. Let's read this real quick. Aircraft may visually follow the river to the airport or may proceed via the 328-degree radial from DCA or 148 degrees inbound, or via the LDA-Y runway 19 approach to a beamed Georgetown reservoir or 4 nautical miles from DCA DME fixed, then follow the river to the airport. That's basically everything I just said, so I guess I could have avoided reading it altogether. There was one more thing I wanted to mention. What was it? I can't remember what it was. I'm excited to go fly this. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a neat little approach to watch. And there are a few videos on YouTube from real aircraft, folks flying this approach, and it's pretty neat. So I don't think there's anything else we really need to add to that. I say we hop on into the aircraft. Now we're going to be a little ways out from this point here as we hop in, not too far hopefully, and then we'll join the approach here, and we'll fly her on down and see if I can put it on the ground in one piece. How's that sound? Let's go ahead and do that. Alright, as you can see here, folks, I'm still doing a couple things. I just took off from IAD, so it's not far away, but we're just inside 10 miles from our first custom waypoint right here. Let me zoom that down a little bit for you. Alright, and that's going to be right up here. So right across from that is where the, come on now, brain work, the Taylor Naval Research and Development Center is. Can't really see it on the map, but we're going to be taking the autopilot off here pretty soon anyway. And we're going to start descending and following the river on our own. Now keep in mind, we're not going to be going straight to each of these waypoints. They're just references for us off to the side of the river. We want to be at or below 3,000 here, 1,800 at the next one, then 1,200, then 900. And by then we'll have a visual on the runway. We'll be able to see our VASI lights, and we should know whether or not we're on glide slope. So I've already got the aircraft almost completely configured for landing. We're going to be a little bit slower upon landing. In fact, I'm going to slow this down just a little bit more now. We're looking to be at about 137 knots upon land for our VREF speed here, and I'm going to go take the autopilot off now. I am going to be using track IR on this. Come on. There we go. And I'll turn that on now as well. Make sure we get to the right view. And we'll go ahead and we'll start following the river here. And now, we don't have to follow the river quite yet. We're actually supposed to start following the river when we get up here. I've left the auto throttle on. We'll let that control our throttles for now. And what do you call the thing over here? The that research center, the Naval Research Center. I'm sorry it's jerking around a little bit. I don't know why. Should be getting better frame rates. We don't want to descend quite that quick yet. Let's go ahead and bring in a little bit of trim there. Slow that rate of descent down. Getting a message from the FMC there. The Naval Research Center is, if we look down here, we can see we're almost on top of it. Let's zoom this all the way down. I mean, we're 2.5 miles from it. So it's got to be right in here somewhere, but you can't really, you know, it could be this, it could be this. There's just nothing. It could be this right here for all I know. It just isn't really that clear on here, so that's all right. Not too concerned about it. From this point forward, we're going to basically come over the top of the river here and follow it all the way down. So we're already below the 3,000, which was the recommended for that particular point. Turn that off. Let's go ahead and put auto brakes 2 on. I did try this landing, believe it or not. I just did it once and I recorded it, but my yoke was acting all crazy, and I floated. I don't know why it keeps chopping there. I floated like 3/4 of the way down the runway. It was ridiculous. It was driving me nuts. So I decided to record it again. All right, descending a little quicker than I want to here. So just put in a little more trim. We're just following the river there, trying to keep it from whatchamacallit there. It keeps getting real jerky. I don't know why. Be slowing our speed down here in a little bit. Rated descent's all right for the moment. Remember, the next waypoint up there, we're looking to be at about 1,800 feet. So we're crossing the first one now. So the Naval Research Center is probably this right here. I don't know, but doesn't really matter. Now remember, the next waypoint's actually going to be off to our right a little bit. We want to be about 1,800 feet. We're at 2,000 now. Good slow rated descent. We've got what 4 miles to get to that one. Just follow the river around here. And we can be a little bit lower than that. That's all right, but we don't want to be a lot lower. Now you can already see the airport up there. That is not the runway we're landing on, just so you know. We are landing on the runway where you can just barely see the light right there. It runs that way. So I'm going to pay more attention to my flying here and less attention to what I'm saying to you guys. I will try to point out these landmarks. So this is the Delacarlia Reservoir. The chain bridge is not out here. You can see there's no bridge here. There's supposed to be a bridge just past it right here. It's not there. Okay, starting to descend a little quick again, 1,600 there. All right, we're almost to that point where we're supposed to be at 1,800 anyway, so it's not too bad. But we're just a skosh below glide slope. We'll be able to see our white and red VASI lights here in just a minute. So we're just going to continue to follow the river here. I'll be taking the auto throttle off here in a couple minutes. Let's go ahead and bring that speed all the way down to 137 now. Let the auto throttle do its thing for a minute. Okay, we're passing that waypoint now. This is the next landmark here, which is the Georgetown Reservoir, and it's just next to that, or basically parallel to that. We want to be at 1,200. So we're looking good. You can see we've got one white and one red light there, so we're good on that. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that as far as my altitude is concerned for the most part. We're looking pretty good. The wind has kind of gone crazy on me. It flipped around. It's going to be a bit of a tailwind on the landing, which is going to make it a little rough. You can see we're definitely crabbing here, 15 knot gusting to 24. So looking pretty good though. Just about 1,200 right here. Start making this sweeping left turn around the corner here. Speeds up just a little bit. We'll be all right though. Okay, watch our rated descent. Make sure we don't drop too fast. This is a good steep turn. I like it.
1,000.
All right, looking pretty good. Okay, we can start seeing our bridges coming in now. That's the Key Bridge there. Next bridge down is the Roosevelt, then the Arlington Memorial after that. Whoa, fast rated descent there. Come on. There we go. Let's see how we're looking over there. Yeah, we're a little low. Okay, start making this right turn. We don't want to go into any of this airspace over here. We got to stay over the river. Okay. Still a little low. Got to stay over the river, and the wind's pushing us in that direction, so we got to make sure we turn all the way in tight here. There we go. Let's get back on glide slope. Let's go ahead and take that auto throttle off now. Get rid of those 2 warnings there. Keep an eye on, excuse me while I look at my throttles for a second. Yeah, they were up pretty high. Alright, bring those throttles down. Just skirting the side over here, looking really good. Okay. Rated descent's good. These last 2 bridges are the George Mason Memorial and the Rochambeau Memorial. Rochambeau? I don't actually know how to say that, so if I'm saying it wrong, please let me know. Watch that rated descent. Okay, bring in some throttle. Okay, remember that wind's coming hard off our right side there, so it's going to push us a little past it. We're going to have to come around and crab it in. Alright, now I'm going to shut up. Let's listen for our callouts. Maybe.
100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
And there's an airplane pulling out. Come on. Alright, put her down. I hate AI traffic with every ounce of my soul. It's ridiculous. Come on. Alright, not too shabby, huh? We managed to put her down. It floated just a little bit on me right at the end there, not really sure why. Of course, we got airplanes crossing the runway when they're not supposed to. That's what I get for not having ATC. I'm going to have to get ATC taken care of here pretty soon. I did have the auto brake set up, but probably could have used a little more auto brake there. But not a big deal. We'll go ahead and start taxiing it on in here, and as I'm doing that, I guess that's going to wrap it up for this one. Let's make sure we're not crossing in front of anybody there. Alright. That's going to wrap it up for this one. As always, these are relatively short. That was a neat little approach. That was a lot of fun. I'll probably fly that a few more times just because that's really neat. Be fun to try it in a different aircraft too. It seems like a lot of the smaller regionals come in here, so I might have to give it a shot in one of those regionals. This guy's going to come right over where we're going. That figures. Anyway, yeah, good times. Thank you for the suggestion, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions about it or any comments, things you think I could have done a little bit better, please feel free to leave them down in the comments section. I don't mind. It's not going to hurt my feelings. Just be nice about it. If you haven't taken the opportunity yet, please subscribe to my channel. It is always appreciated when you subscribe. We are over 500 now, so we're going to have to do something to celebrate 500 subscribers. You can also, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and that's going to pretty much wrap it up, folks. This again was the River Visual 19 approach for KDCA, and that was a good time. So until next time, folks, as always, keep the blue side up unless otherwise instructed by ATC. You folks have a great day.